to Friday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic and the puzzle that you have decided I should attempt today. It is the puzzle Embark by dumediat. And I think dumediat is the right way to say this collection of letters here, which I think I pronounced yesterday as dumediat. And yeah, I mean, I've been monitoring the comments on yesterday's video where we asked you to choose which of two puzzles you'd like us to solve. And this one, I think it was the clear winner. Although I was interested that the KNT puzzle, it attracted some absolutely wonderful comments from people like Codec and ThoughtBite and Toolcat, all of whom were really keen to see that. So I hope I'll get a chance to try that at some stage. But yeah, you all want to see the Fog of War puzzle. And I had an email from dumediat yesterday saying that they really hope that I do the puzzle today. But if I did do the puzzle, could I shout out Chameleon, the constructor Chameleon, because they have apparently enabled this puzzle to exist. Because what I hadn't really appreciated is that because this is a loop drawing puzzle as well as being a weird Sudoku with deconstruction, special software had to be created so that when you draw loops in the grid in the correct place, when you draw a loop segment in the grid, so say I drew a loop segment from here to here, I'm reluctant to do it in case it reveals the fog. I don't want to know what's behind the fog. But if I drew a loop segment from this cell, if I click cells, is that going to hurt me? No, from that cell to that cell, and it was correct. Apparently that might reveal some cells. So that is very, very clever. So Chameleon has basically enabled this puzzle to exist, and that is a really, really wonderful thing. So shout out to them for their technical skills. Now, what else do I need to tell you? Oh yeah, and by the way, was this experiment a success in terms of asking you guys to vote? Well, the thing that I did notice when I was reviewing the comments is because the comments were very, very heavily skewed towards people voting on today's puzzle. And I felt bad for Dag H, who produced a wonderful puzzle yesterday, but most of the comments on yesterday's puzzle were about today's puzzle, if you see what I mean. So I think if we do it again, we'll do a YouTube poll or something like that, a different thing, just so that the constructor for that day's puzzle gets the feedback they deserve for producing what was a wonderful puzzle yesterday. And I hope you all had a go at that. And you can hear my voice. I've got a cold, I'm afraid. So I'm sorry if my voice starts to give out. I also might get an important phone call during this video. I haven't had it yet, but I wanted to start this, for two reasons. Firstly, I'm recording slightly earlier than usual today because there is always a chance I won't be able to solve this. And if I can't solve it, well, I'll probably have to do the KNT puzzle then, which is also, I think, monstrously difficult. And then if I can't do that, I'd have to do another puzzle as well. So goodness only knows what's going to go on. Anyway, I've got loads of other news to tell you about today as well. Let's start with some birthdays. Greg, it's your birthday today, and I know this because your wife, Rochelle, wrote to us and told us so and said you enjoyed the channel. So, Greg, we hope you have a fabulous day today. Also, John, it was your birthday yesterday, and I know this because your wife, Tara, wrote to us. However, rarely for me, I do not feel guilty about this, and I don't feel guilty because Tara's email asking us to say happy birthday to you yesterday arrived at 9:30 p.m. UK time, by which time yesterday's video had already been live for an hour. So absent creating a quick time machine, I couldn't do much about that, and that's a puzzle I haven't solved yet. But John, I hope you had a brilliant day with, of course, lots of cake yesterday. Now next I need to talk about, well, we've released a bonus crossword video today. And that's on the main channel, and the reason for that is that yesterday's Times crossword puzzle was the hardest Times crossword for 5 years. It was a beast. So we thought you might enjoy watching me do battle with it. So that's what we did. Now, for our patrons over on Patreon, I believe Mark is releasing his speed solve of that puzzle. Now, I will tell you that I think it probably was Mark's slowest solve for 5 years as well. I don't remember the last time a Times crossword took him as long as it did. But if you're a patron of the channel, there's going to be a bonus video from Mark as well. And also, I think Mark has recorded a video where he solves a puzzle, a cryptic crossword, a themed cryptic crossword that I wrote about 20 years ago for the Magpie magazine. That is a 2.5 hour video, and that's going to be available on Patreon, I think, today. What else can I tell you about? Glum Hippo. Oh no, my silly computer. It's being really weird at the moment. And when I try and record stuff... hang on, what on earth is going on now? I don't know. I want to show you a snip I just took. Here we go. This snip here. This snip is what you can win in next month's thingy. Next month's Patreon reward. It is, well, it's not really a glum hippo, is it? It's a very cute looking hippo. It's a plushie that Glum Hippo has commissioned especially as the Patreon prize. So if you want to have a chance of winning the little green plushy hippo, it will be sent to the winner of next month's monthly reward, which is, well, Glum Hippo's called it the Fossil Hunt, and it's more approachable than the J. Dyer Hunt and the Fistomophile Hunt, which have been our last 2 hunts. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. And actually, I need to read some names for you of people who correctly solved the J. Dyer Hunt. So very well done to Dash Mater, Ethan Stur, Jack Ty, Hendrik and Alex. I love the fact there are loads of sort of solving duos coming in as well. Riddy Danawat, Mike Daniels, Asylum Gaming, Ryan Walker, Dan and Sparrow Sheldon, Diedrich P, Grothar, Denise Uret, Danielle and Colin, Christy Klingert, Nina Schwint, Marty Schlob, JD Barty, and Tangent Arcs. All of you sent in the correct entries, and therefore you are incredibly clever. Now, 1 second while I try and get the puzzle back. Where is it? Right, that should be the puzzle back on the screen, I hope. I hope. Okay, and we have got quite a rule set to do battle with today. Now there is a button in the Chameleon software that says no fog reveal mode off. If I turn that on, what does that do? I'm just going to pick a cell down here and put all of the digits 1 to... Right, well given, I suppose that might not have a digit in it. Oh goodness. Okay, so that might not have worked. I was wondering whether I was going to be able to do any actual illustrations of the rules here, but let me read the rules and then we can experiment. So, Fog of War. The grid is covered with fog. There are 3 initial light sources that illuminate the darkness and clear the fog. Okay, so that must be the blanks we've got in the grid where we can see through the fog. Place correct digits, shading, or loop lines into the cells to get more light. So in this puzzle, it's not just going to be digits that reveal the fog, it's going to be shading. Oh, that's because it's a Yagelin and also loop. Well, I was expecting loop, but I wasn't sure about shading. Okay, and then deconstruction. Contained within the grid are 9 non-overlapping 3x3 square regions, which must be located. Each region contains the digits 1 to 9 once each, and digits cannot repeat in any row or column. Cells outside regions do not contain digits and are considered empty for Yagelin rules below. Cells outside regions do not. Right, okay. So we're going to have to build some 3x3s in the grid. Let's say we worked out that was a 3x3. And that was a 3x3. Then the gap in the middle couldn't contain any numbers because you can't fit a 3x3 in there. So that would be empty for the purposes of the Yagelin rules. Now, I don't know what that's going to mean, but let's continue reading. The digits in each cage sum to the clue in the top left corner and may not repeat. So normal killer Sudoku. Cages may include shaded or unshaded empty cells. Oh my goodness. Cages may include shaded and or unshaded empty cells, but such cells do not contribute to the cage total. Right, so that's telling us that the bits of the puzzle that are to do with the Yagellin and not to do with the Sudoku don't count for killer Sudoku cages, which is an interesting thought. Then we've got modified Yagellin rules. Oh my. Shade some empty cells black so that no two shaded cells are orthogonally adjacent, including given shaded cells. Oh, I see, because we've got a given shaded cell here. Is that what that means? Shade some empty cells black so that no two shaded cells are orthogonally adjacent, including given shaded cells, and draw a non-intersecting loop through the centres of all unshaded empty cells. Okay. Arrow clues must contain a digit and be part of a 3x3 region. Okay. So, right, so we know that, okay, so look, and I'm given 3 arrow clues at the start. So actually, well, the problem is if I do fill in this cell with the digits 1 to 9, I'm going to squint at the screen. So I'm not going to see, I'm just going to type in 4 and see if any fog gets revealed. I don't think it is, no. Okay, right, that's interesting. So that's good, because what that means, I think, is that if I turn on this no fog reveal mode, I can play about with the grid. So now, right, so now we can play in this grid with impunity without revealing fog, providing I leave the no fog reveal mode turned on. Oh, I see, and there's a little thing I can hover on. It says turn on to safely modify, without revealing the fog. All actions made in this mode will be reverted after turning it back off. Oh, that's lovely. Right, so if you turn this on, so say I'm halfway through a solve and I turn this on, I can sort of hypothesize what might work without revealing fog, and then when I turn it off again, it will just undo the sort of the chain I'm on. Well, that's what I think that's saying. That's really clever. Okay, so the arrow clues must contain a digit and be part of a 3x3 region, and these clues represent the number of shaded cells in a straight line in the indicated direction. Well, that's standard Yagellin. Obviously, this is not a standard Yagellin because it's got Sudoku elements, but that's going to be interesting. Right, in the final grid, all cells will contain either a digit with or without an arrow, okay, a loop line, or black shading. Note that drawing borders / edges or shading cells colours other than black will not affect the fog or the solution check. Okay, well, I don't know what that means, but let's I do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video. I hope I'll be able to provide this link in a form that's not a tiny URL, but I don't know yet, because I know that some of you in some territories have difficulties playing puzzles that are in tiny URL. But I think for this puzzle you need to play it in this special Chameleon generated software. So I apologise for that, but you did vote for the puzzle. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And I think what I've got to do to start with, probably I've got to turn off the thing that's I've got to turn off the no fog reveal mode, because I need to actually do things. Now, this cell, anything with an arrow, I think we're told is actually a real digit in the puzzle. So these 3 cells, I'm going to colour them. I'll colour them. Oh, I've got slightly different colours available to me today. I'll colour them yellow. So yellow is going to be a cell that is definitely part of a 3x3 box. Now this digit up here is pointing at the number of black cells to its right. Well, it can't. Right. Okay, well, this is a Yagelin. Oh, I actually know how to do this. I was about to say that this digit could be a 1 or a 2, and I was about to tell you it couldn't be a 2. Now, the reason it can't be a 2 is if I put 2 black cells in there, the rules of Yagelin say that the black cells cannot touch orthogonally. I'm sure that was what I just read. No 2 shaded cells are orthogonally adjacent. Yeah. So you can't put 2 in there. So in fact, this is a 1. In fact, let's do that first. But I actually know where the black cell goes, so I'm quite excited to do that as well. I love these puzzles. Okay, but... okay, I've thought of another thing I can do here. That cell has got to be... in a 3x3, because even if the 3x3 starts in the top row, it's still going to get to this cell, isn't it? But I think more importantly, I've got to look to the right here. One of these 2 cells is a black shaded cell. Now, it's not this one. I don't want to put it in. Well, I suppose I could turn on my fog mode. Let me turn it on and make that cell black. Now, the reason it's not this one is that if it's this one, because none of those cells can then be a black cell, and this cell in particular cannot be part of a 3x3 Sudoku square, this square is a loop square. But it can't be a loop square, because if I draw a loop... Oh, how does loop work? There, it's the same. If I draw a loop square in there, do I want my loop in green? Can I do my loop in a different colour than green? Oh, yes, I can do it in red. I'm going to do it in red. If I do my loop there, it ends in a cul-de-sac here. And that's not going to work. We can't make a loop. So I think what we've got to do... Oh, I can just turn off this. And yeah, that's really clever. All right. So the black cell that this is pointing at, I think, is there. And I don't know if that's going to reveal anything. It did. It cleared the fog for this one. And, right, so now we go to Yagelin mode. Because, obviously, these cells here cannot... Oh. Okay, when I release that then, it's showing me something there. That looks like a black cell hidden in the fog. So is that saying that am I allowed to assume that that's a black cell? It looks like a black cell. Because if that's a black cell, I'm allowed to put a loop segment in turning left there. It does look... It looks a bit like that one, but it's more fogged over. I don't know is the short answer, whether I'm allowed to do that or not. I think I'm going to hold off because I don't want to exploit stuff that I may not be meant to know. I mean, that's really what this looks like. But I think I can see something else to do, so I'm going to do this instead. Now with this, the loop... Well, actually, I can do more with the loop. The loop must come here. And it's lovely. It's revealing the fog. But look, this is the top right cell of a 3x3 box. So I can draw this 3x3 blocks in. And that means my loop, look, has got to go all the way to here. Oh, this is so cool. Right, yes, it is cool actually, because now remember that this cell is part of a 3x3. So I've got to be able to do that now to draw in that 3x3. And therefore you can see that my loop is going to have to come down this little alleyway. Oh, wow. We're actually getting loads of... Oh, there's a 2 cage. Oh, yes, okay, because... Yeah, that makes sense, actually. Right, here's an interesting point. This loop that's come down to this cell is either... Its next cell can't go into this 3x3, so it's either that one or that one. Thereby, effectively meaning that 2 of these cells in this 2 cage will be consumed by loop, and therefore not contributing to the total of 2. So there is a 2 in one of those 2 cells. And that cell will be part of a 3x3. And if it's this one, it will be there'll be a 3x3 here. And if it's this one, well, there'll be... Then I don't quite know what it does. Right, that cell there is definitely a loop cell. because it can't be part of a 3 by 3. So, oh, I see. I think that's right. So I could, yes, I see. So I think this is how I deal with this. Oh, look, when I click on that, you do actually get to see it's a black shaded cell. But anyway, I could have proved this anyway. Let me show you why. Because this is a black cell, and this cell therefore cannot be a black cell, and it cannot be a 3 by 3 cell, so it is a loop cell, but it's also at the corner of the loop. The loop has to go into this cell, but it can't continue straight on, and it can't turn up, so it must turn down. So I think what's going to happen is it's got to do that, and that does, right, and that did reveal more of this black cell here. And you can see that we have to continue actually now. Continue down here. Well, yes, this cell can't be part of a 3 by 3, and it's next to a black cell, so we've got to do this and this. I love the way that this is revealing fog. Right, so now it looks... I just spotted something else which could be very cool. Let me think about that. Yeah, right. Here is a lovely Yagellin trick. Well, a sort of Yagellin stroke Sudoku trick. I want to look at that cell and that cell at the same time, because these two cells are identifying how many black cells there are sort of in places in this column. But I'm not allowed to repeat digits in this column, and these have to contain digits. So these cells are seen by both arrows. So if there was no black cell down here, these arrows would contain the same number, because they'd be counting the black cells in that string of digits, i.e. the string of digits that is definitely not in the 3 by 3s and that lie between them. So there must be a black square in one of these two cells, and in order to make sure that this arrow has a different count to this arrow and they contain different digits. Now, can that black square be there? No, because then this square couldn't be a part of a 3 by 3, couldn't be a black square, would be a loop square, but would be a cul-de-sac. So I think that cell is a black cell. And therefore, let's see if we put it in. That worked okay. Oh, this might be my phone call. That's fine. Okay, I don't even need a phone call. I got a message, and that has obviated the need for the phone call, which is great. Right. So full power now. Now this cell is the bottom of a 3 by 3, so those two cells are definitely in the 3 by 3. These, well, okay, this cell is clearly loop, because that can't be part of a 3 by 3. So let's put loop in there, there. Ooh, oh, that's great. That is very useful, because look, this cell now is a 3 by 3 cell, so we can only draw that in one particular way. So it's got to look like that, and that's going to force the loop to come up here. Oh, whoopsie! I didn't mean to do that. I want to move the loop up here. Right, that has bounded this region, hasn't it? This has now got to be a leftward region. So the loop, all right, the loop's coming along the bottom here. The loop must dip here, because that one couldn't have been part of a 3 by 3. Oh, okay. Now look, that cell. That's the bottom right cell of a 3 by 3, isn't it? But it's not. So maybe I've got to use another colour for that one. I'll use purple. Yeah, that's fine. Right. Seen something else. How could any of those digits be digits? How could any of those cells be Sudoku digits? They couldn't be, because they would there's 9 cells there, so they would definitely be a repeat in the row. So these cells are either black cells or loop cells. I don't really know how to... Maybe I've got to have a colour for cells that are... But if I put... actually, now then I'm worried that if I start filling in shading cells with colours, will the software understand that I'm just putting those in to show loop cells? I don't know. I'm a bit nervous about doing that, just in case it reveals things. Okay, let's carry on thinking. Right, I think I'm actually going to limit the size of these now, because this one is counting the number of black cells in that string of digits, which I suppose it could be 3. Well, it can be 3 as well. I was going to say that's going to be problematic if it's 3. Let me turn on the no fog reveal mode. If I did this, you can see what I was immediately thinking about was, okay, how many loop ends am I going to have in the right side of the grid if I do that? Because my loop is going to have to come through these little tunnels that I create. And that's going to put 4 loop ends on the right hand side. And the problem is that's fine. If we had been able to show that there was an odd number of loop ends trapped on the right hand side, we would have known that was incorrect, because you couldn't create a loop from that situation. But here you can absolutely create a loop. You need an even number of loop ends in any segment of the grid that you sort of hypothecate off. So right now, if I click turn off, will it just... That's so clever. It just got rid of it all. That's really a really lovely feature. Right, so... Okay, so I can have 3 there. That's the point, isn't it? So this is a 1, 2, or a 3. And this is 1 more, because it's also counting that one. And it's not 1. Okay, so that's 2, 3, or... Well, okay, we knew it wasn't 1 anyway, because it had to be 1 more than this one. Is that 14? So the 14 cage here has only got 4 digits counting. No, okay, I can't. I mean, these, if that was a 2, these would be at least 3, 4. No, that's not really putting enough pressure on. Right, so now I'm getting stuck. Oh dear. I know that none of these are... Ah, right. Here's another point. Oh, I don't... What I want to... I've suddenly realised now is because none of those cells is a Sudoku cell, none of these cells is a Sudoku cell. So all of these grey cells down here are either black cells or loop cells. That's a lot of cells. Oh, hang on. That cell's definitely Sudoku, isn't it? Because it's part of this region, which must come to this square. So the maximum size of this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not putting that in. That's too many things to pencil mark. Okay, what's the maximum size of this one then? 1, 2, 3. That's the maximum of 4, but it sees a 1. So that is... Oh, space doesn't work the same in this software. That's a 2, 3, or a 4. Oh, hang on, I should have looked at this. Look, there's a 4 cage here that's got 2 counting cells. Right, so those have got to be... Oh, what's that mean? Oh dear, okay, this software is telling me that cell can't be a 1. Oh, I don't like that. That's cheating. How do I... Up here. Highlight conflicts. Is that what it's done there? Check pencil marks. Good grief, this stuff's clever. Check obvious logic. Check pencil mark. If I just click off. Okay, that seems to have stopped that doing that. Okay, well, I would like to think I would have got that. I was looking for it anyway, so this is a 2 or a 3. So that can't be a 3. It would be too big. So this is now 1 or 2. This is now 1, 2 or 3. But that it looks like we're trying to create a triple here, doesn't it? But we haven't managed to do it. What about that one then? That one is... Ooh. Ah, okay. So our triple is not vertical. It's horizontal. That can only be a 1 or a 2. Because in that group of 4 cells there, I couldn't put more than 2 greys or 2 black cells without them being adjacent to one another orthogonally, which is not allowed. So we know one of these... Ah, no. I thought I was going to conclude one of those was a 3. Oh, you can't... Can we repeat digits in cages? Sorry, that's a sensible question. Because these were in different 3x3 boxes, I thought double 2 might be on the cards. No, it's not on the cards by rule. Sorry. Okay, so it does say in the instructions that digits cannot repeat within a cage. So double 2 was never a possibility. So this is a 3-1 cage, and that's going to get me fog. Right, here we go. That cell is a 3. Okay. It didn't reveal a great deal of magical things. Let's try this one. 1. Okay. Oh, look, that's lovely. That 1 and 3 give me this cell by Sudoku. That's a 2. Didn't reveal any fog, but we know that that's 1 higher than 2, so it's 3. Which also doesn't reveal any fog. This square is now 1. Oh, okay, that's great. Okay, well I can write that cell in now. This is a 3-cell 10 cage, which must be 2, 3, 5 because it doesn't have a 1 in it. And there's a 2 and a 3 looking at that cell, so that's going to be a 5. Oh, this is a 2, 3 pair. The 13 cage is not 5, 8 now, so there's definitely an 8 up here in the box. It's either 4, 9 or 6, 7. I'll put the options in. 4, 9, 6, 7. That 11 cage is real, but so it's not 2, 9. Oh, 3. 3 is restricted in I don't know what box to call this. That's probably going to be box 8, isn't it? In sort of although this could be a box here, and that would make this goodness only knows box. No, it would still be box 8 actually. I suppose it's always box 8 because that must be box 9, and then we can't fit another box in here. No. That's not a 3 now. So this is 2 or 4. This is a 2. So there are 2 black cells up here. So I mean, there are certain things we can see from that which go towards the thing I was looking at earlier. Like, you couldn't have the 2 black cells in those positions. Because if you did, you'd have 3. You'd have created 3 pathways for loop coming into this right hand side. So let's just turn that off again. I love that. But I think that there are a variety of other ways that we could do it. Can I? No, I was wondering if I could always rule those 2 each of these cells out, but I don't think I can. If that cell was a black cell, there would be a pathway here, but then I could put the other one there, and this could be a wobble, and a wobble would allow me to just get 1 loop end extra into the right hand side. So okay, so now I'm getting stuck, perhaps unsurprisingly. Which one of these is 2? We don't know. Goodness. Okay, look, let me click off the grid and stare. Oh, it's probably the 14 cage now, is it? The 14 cage, these two cells now are at least a 4, 5. So these are adding up to at least 9. So these two cells are adding up to a maximum of 5. So they're from 1, 2, 3 and 4. This one can't be 1 or 3. Which, that feels like it might matter, doesn't it? So, but okay, if this had a 4 in it, this would be a 4, 1 on this side, and then I couldn't put 4 in here, so this would be a minimum of 2, 5. Sorry, not 2, 5, 4, no, it would be a minimum of what? If there's 4 here, this is a minimum of 5, 6. Because it couldn't have 4 in it, and these can't be 1, 2 or 3. So there is no 4 on this side. So that cell's a 2. There we go, 2. I get more fog. That cell, we said these couldn't add up to more than 5, so this is not 4 now. Well, we knew that already. It's not 2. So it's 1 or 3. I've got a 1, 2, 3 triple in row 2. If that's a 1... these two squares add up to 11. It could be two ways, couldn't it? 4, 7 or 5, 6. If this is a 3, I've got 5 here. These add up to, then these are a 4, 5 pair. If this is a 4, 5, no, we can still do it. Hang on. I'm sure there's something clever going on. What about this arrow? 1, 2, 3, 4 as a maximum. So that cell is 1, 3 or 4. Can we... Oh, this too, of course. Oh, this is beautiful. I love this puzzle. It's very intricate, but everything is smooth once you look in the right place. Look, that cell is not 2. So this cell must be the 2. So that's a real digit, isn't it? So we can give that its colour, which means that cell must be in a 3 by 3. We know the loop is now going to turn left, which reveals another cell, but not much more. Same, I've just, of course, this cell must be in that 3 by 3 as well. Sorry, and now I need to think. Now I need to think. Oh, I see. This is a 2-cell 9 cage. So if this 3 by 3 does that, that would just put a 9 in here, presumably. Is that an 11 cage? Am I misremembering that? Yeah, that's an 11 cage. So oh dear, come on Simon, think of something intelligent. What's it likely to be at this juncture? Okay, here is a thought. That's a sensible thought. If this 3 by 3 did do that, that cell would not... Oh, it could be a black cell, of course. Oh, bobbins, I was going to say it was a cul-de-sac cell, but it could be a black cell, and that would work, I think. Hang on, that is in a 3 by 3. So if I had that arrangement, I'd have all of the digits then in this column. Look, I'd have 9 digits there. Is that okay or not? Oh, here's a point as well that I'd not thought about. This 16 cage, I can't just write 16 into that cell, can I? Of course. So this, well, that tells us that we need more yellow cells in this 16 cage, and you can see that there's no we have to have a 3 by 3, so it's going to have to look like that. So there's another, we got another purple box down here, and that's lovely because now I can do some loop. Boom, boom. Ooh. Well, we keep going there because this is clearly a black cell. That cell, yeah, here's an interesting point. I don't know how to notate this, but that cell is definitely not part of a 3 by 3. There's nowhere to fit the 3 by 3 in. So that cell is a loop cell because it's not a black cell. Yeah, got it. Got it. Okay, so now we can talk about how this grows. If this grows to here even, it's broken the puzzle because you're creating a part. Let me show you. If you do that, you've now got a passageway here that you have to send this loop through, and that's going to strand this loop end in the top right hand side of the grid. It's not going to have anything to join to, so we mustn't create that pathway. And the same is true if we take it there. We're just creating a longer pathway. So in fact, this 3 by 3 does this, and this is not a pathway. So yes, okay, so the loop stays. This is effectively what we're learning is this is a corner of the loop. The loop has to stay in this section of the grid in order to allow these two ends to connect up. So, and we can't get a loop coming from, let me do the no fog reveal mode. We can't sort of get a loop coming from here. Whoopsie, I didn't mean to do that. Coming in from here and taking this cell and then trying to get out. It can't get out. There's no way. So the only thing that can pick this cell up is this. So what we need to do is to do this and then move that up. And that's confirmed it because it did reveal fog. But the other interesting thing, of course, about this is this cell. Now this cell here, if I just click, yeah, that cell is not a black cell. It's not part of a 3 by 3. So that is a loop cell, and therefore we can draw it in. We know it must do this. Oh, here we go. Dum dum, dum dum, dum dum dum. That's done a lot of revealage. Yeah, okay, and here's an interesting thought as well. This column, how many columns have we got in this puzzle? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14, I think. So column 12 here has all of its digits in it. So these 4 cells in the middle are not capable of being Sudoku. So there's no 3 by 3 hidden in this. So this is all loop and or black cells, which means that we need to know quite a lot of arrows to help us here. Oh, I see. Sorry. Right, let's come back to this clue then. We've got one black cell here. We need to have one more black cell in here. It can't be there, or that's creating a cul-de-sac here. So that's a black cell, is what I think we're being asked to appreciate, that revealed stuff. Now we switch back to loop because all of a sudden that's become a corner. This has become a corner. That's become a corner. This cell here is now a black cell, or it's a loop cul-de-sac. So we go back, we put black cell in there. Yeah, I think that's all revealed, isn't it? So we don't get any extra reveals from that. This cell is a 1, I think. I think that's got to be a 1. Let me just think about that. It's counting the black cells in this direction. It can't be 2 by Sudoku, and we can't fit 3 in, so it is a 1, I think. Okay, no reveals because there was no fog, but that's the only one. So these 3 cells and this cell are all empty, i.e. not... Oh no, hang on, that one. We know that we know these 3 are not black cells, but this one we don't know whether that's a black cell or not. I don't think. Oh no. Okay. Well, I do know that this isn't a black cell by sort of Yagellin. No, I don't actually. No, I don't. That's nonsense. I was thinking I could prove... No, I think... I know that's not a black cell. If that was a black cell, that would be a black cell. No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I can figure that out yet. We might need to learn some more things about the world before we can definitively fill this in. I might come back to that. I sort of feel it might be possible to do it, but it doesn't feel like the lowest hanging fruit. The lowest hanging fruit is going to be... I don't know actually. 9 in this box is in one of those 3 cells. Can't go in the 10 cage. The 10 cage would need a 1. Same with 8. 8 is in one of these cells. Can't go in the 9 cage, it would need a 1. Can't go in the 8 cage, it would need a 2. 10 cage, it would need a 2. So 8 and 9 are in those cells. What about 7? 7 can't go in here, but 7 could go in there. This has been put together with an immense amount of care. The way that all of the rule sets sort of interact with each other, it's very, very clever. Now, what am I meant to be appreciating? I don't know. Is it something to do with... Is it something to do with the loop coming out here? Don't think so. Oh, I know what I can do. I can extend my loop here, look. Oh yeah, that's going to do stuff. Well, or is it? That's a 3-cell 9 cage. So, if this cell was loop, that would be a 9, but it can be a 9. If this cell is not loop, if this cell is in part of a 3x3, that would have to be a 1, which it could be, I think, because it would be part of a different 3x3 box. Oh, that's Bobbinsworthy, isn't it? Alright, let's get rid of that, because that's catching my eye and we don't need it anymore. What about... what about... Oh, I know what. That cell must be now determined. This cell is counting black cells in the column. There is only 1. So that's got to be a 1, I want to say, which makes this cell have to be a 3, which means that cell's a 3 by Sudoku, and that's in a cage, which means this cell's an 8 by Sudoku. I've now got 5 in my 14 cage, so I need 9 here, which has to be the 4-5 pair, so that's a nice deduction. This is now either 4-8 or 5-7. I'll put that in. What about this 18 cage? 6-7-8 is still on the cards, isn't it? If that was 6-7-8, this would be a 2-9. That would be a 2. I can nearly lock a 2 into the 18 cage, which would almost be helpful. I've got no... okay, that's an interesting thought I had not had. I've got no 2 and no 3 in my 16 cage. So it could have a 1 in it, though. If it didn't have a 1 in it either, it would have to be 4-5-7, which it could still be, actually. So that wasn't an intelligent thought. Okay. If this 9 cage is 3-6, we know the order. But if it's 4-5, we don't know the order. There's a little bit of a restriction here. Oh, I see. No, better. No, it's fine. I've got it. If that was 3, 6, how would the 10 cage work? There would be no combination, there would be no domino here that could add up to 10, because if this is 3, 6, you couldn't lose 3, 7 or 4, 6, and you couldn't use 1, 9 or 2, 8. So this is 4, 5, which is at least something. And that means this, oh, that's lovely, this is 3, 7 now, because it can't be 4, 6, 2, 8 or 1, 9. And the 3 we know the position of, so that's 3. Oh, here we go. That's 7. 7 is now a bit restricted in my whatever my box 8. These squares, that we can delete those now. I think we know these are 8, 9, and 6, don't we? And look, we've got this is the exciting thing. I think is what we've just learned, which is that this is a black cell. Now that can't be part of a 3x3. That can't be part of a 3x3. So we get loop extendability into that. Oh, that revealed absolutely diddly squat. And oh, you rotten thing! You rotten thing. Okay, that's well. That's mean. That cell can't be part of a 3x3, so I'm going to give it a circle. That cell can't be part of a 3x3, so it also deserves a circle. Okay. Wow. I'm looking. I really am staring at this, trying to spot what I'm meant to see here. I'm not spotting it at all. What could it be? Okay, maybe Sudoku. Actually, I'm just thinking about that. This digit, 4 or 5, in this box appears in one of those two squares. So those squares are from 4, 5 and 7. That's not 5. So the 6 and the 9 in this box are in these squares. And if that's true, that square becomes an 8, which means these squares become 6, 9, which doesn't affect that 12 cage at the top, which is quite unbelievable. 8. No, okay, so let's keep going with that then. So 6, 9 are in those squares now, in this 3x3. So that square is not 6 or 9. So this square, in terms of pure Sudoku, is 4, 7 or 8, I think. Which is totally uninteresting. Oh, no, look. My 9 cage here, that's a 9. Ha ha ha, there we go. 9, 6... That's done nothing. You rotten thing. Oh no. Okay. Oh, I see. No. Oh no, I don't see. Oh, 3 there. That's a 2. Sorry, I didn't see that before. I've suddenly realised that this is a 9-cell sequence. So we can do pure Sudoku on this. We've got 4, 5, 7, and 8 to place. So that cell is 4, 5, 7, or 8. Whoopsie. And this cell is 4, 7, or 8. It's very close to being interesting in whatever that row is. So there is definitely a 5 up here now, but I don't know whether it's in the 12 cage. If it was, that would be 5, 7. This would be a 4, 8 pair, but it's remote, so it's not perhaps that interesting. This is a 13 cage. 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, let's try perhaps this square then. That is an arrow square. It sees 1. That one could be a black cell. Oh no, it can't. If that's really what I'm meant to spot there, that's quite lovely. Let me explain. I'll have to turn on my fog reveal thingy. Gosh, imagine if I continued on a string and then I pressed that and it just deleted large swathes of the grid. That would be terrifying. Right. If this is a black cell, which is the only way that this digit is not a 1. If this is a black cell, this 3 by 3 has to go to there. And this forms effectively a wall. How would we get this loop segment out? We couldn't. It would be stranded in the bottom left of the grid. So that is not a black cell. And therefore, that number, I believe, has to be a 1. Oh, I've made a mistake. Okay, sorry. What have I done wrong there then? And the reason I've made a mistake is that didn't reveal. I thought I was going to get my big reveal from that. That makes me think I've made a bigger mistake, actually, because that logic felt completely correct. What have I not appreciated about that? If that's a 1, how could that not be a 1? It would have to be a 2. But then if it's a 2, am I just not seeing something here? If it's a 2, that's a black cell. That has to shimmy upwards. That cell has to be in a 3 by 3. And that is a wall. And it can't be a wall unless I've gone completely and utterly mad. Oh dear, oh dear. I'm wondering whether this... Oh, did I turn off the... Oh, maybe I didn't turn off the fog reveal mode. I'm now completely confused. I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether I put the 1 in there when I had the no fog reveal mode on or off. Maybe that's why. I'm going to try 1 again. Please. Oh, yes, it did it. That was a case of where logic just kept on making me think I hadn't made a mistake, but I didn't understand it. And then I realised the only mistake I'd made was turning the mode that doesn't reveal the fog on and then not turning it off again. I am such a doofus. I am a silly goose. Sorry for being a silly goose. But look, this is... Well, actually, is it? Well, yes. This cell's very interesting now. Well, actually, everything's interesting. It's all become interesting because it's all become clear to me. Now, let's think about this. This is a 1. What's the nature of this square? Oh, well, the nature of that square is clearly loop. And the reason I say that is that if this was not loop, if it was black cell, or if it was, which it can't be, or if it was part of the 3 by 3, again, we couldn't get this loop segment out of the bottom left. So we know that the loop goes down from there. So cool. And so does the machine. What we don't know, though, is whether this wiggles in order to get down, because it could go up and turn down, or it could just go directly that way and not pass go and not get $200. But I think obviously the thing we do now is note that this 3 by 3 is now built. The 12 is a little interesting. Oh no, it could. No, I was going to say it had to have a 2 in it. It doesn't. It could be 3, 4, 5. Okay. I've got a remote 13 cage now. Those 2 cells add up to 13. That's weird. Because these 2 cells are both uncountable. It's not actually that powerful, is it? Because we're not able to eliminate many digits from these 2 possibilities. This square is a corner of the loop. because it can't be part of a 3 by 3 and it's next to a black cell. So we can go back to our loop drawing technique and draw that. That has the same profile. Now look, we've got a 1 here. So one of those 3 cells is a black cell. I'm not sure I can see immediately which. I don't think it can be the middle one. I don't think it can be that one. Because if it was that one, that would do that, and this cell would never be accessible, but needs to be. It would be a cul-de-sac. So this is that cell is part of the loop. I'll leave the circle there. That one, if that cell was a black cell, boom. That feels fine. I think that's not. We can't do that. Okay. Wow. So, well, we must have learnt something from this little adventure we've just had. I wish I knew what it was. How long have I had on the video? I've just ticked over the hour, unsurprisingly. It's quite a difficult puzzle. I thought, well, is it? Yeah, I think it is. Every deduction, once you see it, is totally natural and really wonderful. But there's so many different places that you can look and so many different types of logic going on that I'm not sure it's a simple solve, even if you would approach it as a total genius. Okay, so this bottom left area is highly tricky, I think, to work out without more arrow pointing into it. There are a 4-5 pair looking at that square. That's a 7. Sorry, that's been available for ages, if that's true. Okay, well, I'll take the low-hanging fruit. That's actually quite interesting. Look, that's got rid of a... Well, it's made both of those a 4-8, apparently. That's huge. That knocks 4-9 out of that. Sudoku coming to our rescue. 6-7 pair here. That's a 9. And if that's a 9, you know what that cell is. That's a 4. And, well, it's not going to get me any fog. Ah, but it puts a 2 in my 12K. All right, there's all sorts going on now. This is a 9, I think, by Sudoku. That's not a 9 anymore. I should be diligent about this, shouldn't I? Okay, so let's get rid of the... There's now... Ah, this is perfect. Right, now let's have a look up here. There is a 5 and a 7 in those 3 cells. So at least one of them must go in the 12 cage, therefore they both must go in the 12 cage. That's lovely. So that's a 5-7 pair. This is not 5-7, that's 4 or 8. All right, I'll take the easy win there. I can do that 9 plus 4 is 13. So this becomes a 4. I now have to put a 2 in my 12 cage, which is actually, I'm suddenly realizing, important, isn't it? Because how do we make the balance of this work now? Because this couldn't be 3, 4, 5 because of this 4. We know there's a 2 in it. And now we need 2 more digits that add up to 10 that are not 1, 9, not 2, 8, because you'd have 2 2s in the box, and not 4, 6. So the only way that I see, is 2, 3, 7. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's 2, 3, 7, and that cell is not 3 or 7. So that cell is a 2, and that is on the edge of the fog. Yes. Yes. So this is now a 3-7 pair. Let's put that in. But much more interesting, I think, is this black cell that's emerged from the fog, because that square can't be part of a 3 by 3. So we know what that means. That's loop. This cell is now loop cell, because it can't be part of the 3 by 3. That cell can't be part of a 3 by 3, so that's got to be a loop cell. So there's all sorts of sort of loop shenanigans going on in this top left-hand part. Oh, there's an 8 cage here, which has got most of its digits ruled out. Let me just put the options in for these cells. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5, 6, 8, 9. Right, that's not 9, because that cell can't be a -1. If that was 6, that would have to be a 2, which would clash, so it's not 6. If it's 5, that would have to be a 3, which I can't see why that's a problem. And if that's 8, then we're learning that this is either a black square or a loop square, which might be possible actually. Well, but it could very well be possible. Okay, so what do we do? What do we do now? That's quite a good question. What do we? Oh, maybe we look at. Oh, I see. One place I can look, which is an easy win, is this 16 cage, which I now see can't have 1s, 2s, or 3s in it at all. So it must be 4, 5, 7. That's the only way left that will work, which means that cell's not 5. Okay, well that was that. Oh no, all right, that's a 4-7 pair now, so that becomes a 6. I was about to malign. Oh, okay, that's huge. 6, 7. 7 comes down here. This becomes. You can see stuff's getting revealed here. Now I've got that is a 6 or a 9, and that is a 6 or a 9 by Sudoku. But much more interesting is this cell that's just emerged, because we know there's no 3x3s, don't we, down here? So we can probably do a lot of loopage. So we've got to do that. That's become a corner. So that, oh, I see, that's completing this one clue. That square's obviously now a loop square. How do we resolve this? We've got a 2 or a 4 here. Well, okay, sorry. That's clearly not a 4. Because if that's a 4, let me try and show you this. Those 3 squares would all be black squares, and that was going to create 2 cul-de-sacs there. So that's clearly not 4, that's 2. Oh. So that reveals... Oh. Well. Oh, I've got another one here as well. I hadn't seen this one. Has that just been revealed? Oh, maybe that was revealed by the 7. Ah. Okay, well that digit, what is that digit? It's counting a 1 here. It could have 1 black square in those 2 squares, in that domino, so that's 2, and 1 there, which is 3, so it's a 1, 2, or a 3. And it's not 2 or 3 by Sudoku, so it is 1. It revealed as well as a 13 cage hidden in the bottom right hand corner. It's not going to be a 3 down there, so it's not 6, 7, so it's either 4, 9 or 5, 8. I don't know how we tell which of those is going to be likely. This one though is telling us, oh right, yeah, I know what that's telling us. Loads of, well, this square in particular is loop, because that's the one that's being counted by this. So we get another loop extension there. Both of these squares are now loop. Okay, I don't quite know how to do that. I've got a 2 here as well. Oh, so there's another black cell in the bottom. Right, that black cell's not there, because that would create a cul-de-sac in the bottom left-hand corner. It's not here, because that would create a cul-de-sac there. The loop would come down into that cell and therefore be stranded. So one of those 3 little gap cells is black. Can't see how to tell which of those is true. Right, so what on earth am I meant to do now? What I'm going to do, I think, is Sudoku. On the, oh, look, actually, no, that is a 4, apparently, if I trust my pencil marking. I don't really trust it, but I'm going to trust it in that instance. These squares are now known. They're 5, 6 and 9. That is a naked single, if that's true. Yeah, that is true. So that's got to be a 9. That's got to be a 6. That's got to be a 5. I'm not really getting any loops. I'm not getting any fog revealed because everything's sort of been revealed down here already. Those squares are 1, 2 and 6. Which means that's correct. That's got to be a 9, look, because we've had this 6 there already. Oh, well, that's not a 6. There's no way there's 6 black cells up there. In fact, it is a 2, therefore, by Sudoku, which means these two squares are a 1, 6 pair, which means that square's an 8 by mathematics. We can do things like that. These squares are 3 and 7, which is lovely. It's all getting revealed. 7, the fog's going away. So it's just that cell, that's the remaining foggy piece. And we've got a 2 here. Okay, well that 2's very helpful. We can't put a black square here because that square will be a cul-de-sac. So the black square must go here to give us our count for the column. Yes, I thought that was going to reveal this. So now we know the loop must come in there, it must come in there, it must come up there, and we get another black cell exactly there. And does that, well, perhaps it does some more. We can do some more in box 9. Well, that's not 9, so that's not 4. This square, oh, that's an 8 by Sudoku. It sees all other 8 digits. So this down here is 4, 9, and we know the order. This is just beautiful, isn't it? What a good choice you all made. 5 and 6 into those cells. Oh. Hang on, how's this getting oh, I see. I'm not using the fact there's a 1 up here. I was suddenly thinking this all looks a bit remote from the world, and it's not going to be resolvable, but we can do it using the power of the 1 up here. Now those two squares are now known. That's going to give us our 18 total, isn't it? We've not put 9 and 7 into this column. Right, so there is, it turns out there is a 2 two squares, 18, 6 and 8, which is slightly worrying. I don't actually see that being resolved by anything. That's got to be resolved by stuff that's going on over there. Right, so the mysteries of this puzzle are now very much lying in this top left and bottom left positions. Everything on the right side, well, absent a bit of Sudoku, I want to say, looks fair. How many boxes have I got? I've got 8. Okay, so there's one, right, that's going to be it. There's one more box to find, and it's got to fit in to this region somehow. Those cells have to contain a 3 by 3 box. So I think those two cells, therefore, are definitely part of something, because there's no way of filling those cells with a 3 by 3 box that I can see that doesn't include these two. So these two are definitely in, which is going to create... There's certainly going to be some 9 cell strings in row 2 and row 3. Oh, of course. I've got it. Right. Look at this. Oh no, I haven't got it. I haven't got it at all. I'm talking absolute nonsense. No, sorry. I thought for a minute. Let me just see. I thought I could see which way this had to go, but I don't think I can at all. If that goes in there, this dips down here, goes up there and closes. Okay, yeah, I think I might be able to actually. Yes, I can. Right, this is quite... There might be an easier way of doing this. I need to turn on my no fog reveal mode. Right, here we go. Hopefully I've done that properly. Imagine that. This closes directly. Okay. We know that this cell is on the loop. I can't remember how I know that. Let me just try and re-justify that to myself. It's not a black cell, is presumably the deduction I'm making there. Yeah, it would create a cul-de-sac. So yeah, okay, that does seem to be correct. So I have to visit that cell with the loop. I have to do this. I've got to come up to here. Now this cell is also on the loop. So I have to do that. And now if you look very carefully at the grid, this top left-hand loop region is going to be a separate loop to the bottom right region. And we can't have two loops. We're meant to create one loop. In other words, this doesn't directly close here. So we need to turn that off, put that in, that, don't create a little second loop in there, that. Again, I've got to be careful. If I take this cell and go up, again I close the loop off, so I've got to do that. And it knew. That's surely now, that's certainly got to be a black cell. And that being a black cell, because otherwise it would be a cul-de-sac, has created another little opportunity for a corner there, which was correct. It did some fog revealing. If this closes, again, I've got a stranded loop, so it doesn't close. So that goes up, it gives me another position. So has that... it's slightly impinged upon the amount of real estate I've got in the top. It's removed one cell from the row 4's opportunities for 3x3age. It looks like it could be that. Yeah, that's very natural. That would just create a loop that goes round. Is that forced? What about if we had... Well, it can't be that as the 3x3, because that's going to create two cul-de-sacs that are too long to be dealt with by black squares. What about that? That works. You could just join that to that, this up here, that to that, and that would close. That's a bit distressing, actually. What about that then? That also works. Oh no! Oh no! So I believe there are at least 3 arrangements of 3x3s that work. That's very... Right, okay, so I must have missed something. Let's have a look. What have we missed? It's almost certainly Sudoku related, so let's focus on that. This is in a cage. That's a cage, but we don't know the cage totals for these things. This 8... can I now... No. Oh dear. Is there some yin-yang trickery, not yin-yang, Yagellin trickery that we can perform? Yeah, okay, yes, there's something we can do. Let me turn on my no fog reveal mode again. Oh, that seemed to do something then. That was a bit distressing. I think that was okay. I'm not sure. If I do that as a loop segment, that's wrong, because I've got the wrong number. I've got. There's no way of dealing with this now. This position, because if I decide I'm going to connect it up like this, you can't. I don't know if I'm making this clear, but obviously now there is a 3x3 at the top of the grid somewhere, so we can't get in and out of the top of the grid. So the only way of connecting is going to be to connect those two together, because this cell here is going to be a yellow cell. So that doesn't work. So we can't do that connection. And if we do that connection, we've got the same problem. Again, this cell's going to be orange. But if I connect these two together, this is a stranded loop. And if I don't connect these two together, this cell's stranded. So that, I believe, let me just undo this, tells us that this is a valid X on that border. Now that being the case, I can do that, and that's it allows. And that is beautiful. It's beautiful because now this cell is an arrow cell, so it is part of a 3x3. And look, we now know the shape of that 3x3 exactly. And now the loop has to go round the edge of this. Ah, no. That was not what I was trying to do. I want to do that. It loves it. Oh no. Oh goodness. I thought I made a mistake. So I was like, how can I put 11 into that cell? But actually, look, this cage goes all the way down there. So that's fine. So this square is the complement of this that adds to 11, which means it's either 5, 6, 2 or 3. There's probably lots of jiggery-pokery we can do. No, easy jiggery-pokery. That cell we now know, because it can't be a 0. So that can't be an 8. So that's got to be a 5. Which means that these squares are not 5. And perhaps more relevantly, although I'm noticing that square can't be 8 now, this square now, by mathematics, has to be a 3. Oh, that's another okay, sorry, that was another message, but it's not. It's no problem. That square is now not a 3. That square is not an 8, therefore, so the 8 goes there in that box. The 3 does the 3 and the 7. I've been clicking away at this rather than using the keyboard today, just because I'm so paranoid about misclicking on cells and revealing things unwantedly. That square's not a 6 anymore. So 2 or 5 here, 3. I see. This 10 cage now can't have 1, 9, 2, 8 or 3, 7 in it. That's 4, 6, although somehow we don't know the order apparently. But the 14 cage now can't be 6, 8, so it's 5, 9. That is telling me this cell and this cell. Oh, it's going now. It's going. That's 2. All the fog is nearly revealed. I was just suddenly realising. So I can perhaps be a little less circumspect about misclicking. That's a 7. That's a 5. So by Sudoku in this row, we know that square is 4, 6 or 8, and it can be all of those things. Oh, 9. The 9 and the 5 are done at the top. And we need to place 1, 7 and 8 into the gaps here. Oh, it's going to be this 15 cage, you know. That's going to be the key. We've got a 3-cell, effectively a 3-cell 15 cage. I've seen something else that's going to happen as well. This too, of course, but actually let me just focus just focus on one thing at a time, Simon. How do we do this? What are the actual options for those cells? Quite high digits. 4, 6, 8, 9. 4, 6, 8, 9. So if that was high, yeah, okay, this is fine. So what's the minimum sum of those two cells? And I think the minimum sum would be a 4 here and a 6 here. That's the minimum. I can make them 10. If I put the 4 here, I have to add 8 to it. So 10 is the minimum. So this cell cannot be 7 or 8. So that's got to be 1. I don't know quite what that's going to do, but it becomes a 1. That's not a 1. That's not a 1. Now these cells add up to 14, which requires this to be 8, which means that's got to be a 6. That's got to be an 8. That's got to be a 4. I see. That's now a 4. Look, that's a 6. These squares are now a 4, 9 pair, which is resolved by the 9. So 9 goes 4. Oops, 4 goes. Oh, that just highlighted I thought I'd turn that off. That must be the first misclick I've made. Certainly, I don't think it's been giving me any hints as we've been going along. It's been very, very recalcitrant in that regard. That's got to be a 7. That's now giving me a 7. That's a 9. And I can see this 4 and 5 is resolved. That's 4. That's 5. And I think I've got to just deal with this 2 and the fog and closing the loop at the bottom, and then we might have got a correct solution. It's a long video, but what a puzzle. So I've got a second black. Yes, okay. There's only one cell that can take the second black cell in this column. It's got to be that one. Let's see. Yes. Okay, so this corner now can't be a black cell because that's going to create a cul-de-sac. So that's a natural cell that's got to contain the loop. So all we've got to do now is join the loop up without creating other loops. So it's got to be that. Absolutely right. That's a brilliant puzzle. Embark by dumediat. That is a really, really brilliant. I mean, what a fog of war puzzle that is. And, you know, what an amazing piece of software. The fact that you can draw the loop lines in and it knows and it reveals the fog on that basis. I mean, this is just another extension of this wonderful world of fog puzzles that I have been absolutely loving. It's a very, very clever puzzle, that as well, because so much of the logic is different. You know, as we were going through, I even had to do Sudoku at one point, which is quite outrageous. But I love the way that the sort of Chameleon rules impacted on the number placements and vice versa. Yes, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much if you're still with me and still watching and spending your Friday evenings with a Sudoku video. We really do appreciate it. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.